Ahead and start taking questions. I'll start granting recording here in a second, but we're pretty close, so we're doing some feedback, so I'll be quiet as much as I can. Adam, you want to go ahead?
Sure. Kyle, good to see you, at least virtually here. First off, can you take us through the decision to come back? I mean, obviously it was kind of a tough end of the season for you, but what was on your mind when the year ended, and what went into the decision to give it another year at Ohio State?
Yeah, so this is something that, I was thinking about, pretty much majority of the year. Towards the end, it was on my mind more because I knew it was coming close to the time I was going to have to make a decision. Towards the end of the year, the way everything ended, just not being able to play and stuff like that, definitely just wasn't sitting right with me. But also, like, my thought process was kind of like, did I want this to be, my last year playing in Ohio State uniform? Luckily we were able to have an opportunity to use another year, but I was just weighing out all my options. Having some conversations with some agents, discussing some options. Whether that was to be overseas or whatever it was going to be. But after weighing out my options, I just, in my heart, I love this place, and I want to do another year. So that's what it came down to. Being close to my family and coming back and playing with these guys, because this team is amazing. The coaching staff is amazing. So
was that a tough decision to come to? I mean, you talked about your love for the university and what it means for you to play at Ohio State. When you're also looking at the possibility of a professional career and doing this for a living, how difficult ultimately did that decision become for you?
Yeah, it was tough. I was thinking about it for a while. Just the whole process of it was kind of overwhelming. But at the end of the day, I'm happy with my decision because of, like you said, of how much, I love this place, how much I love my teammates, my coaches, and then, I'm close to my family as well. So those are all things that definitely, weighed into it, but I'm happy with, the decision I made.
Okay, Steve Hellwagon.
Hey, Kyle. Academically, just wanted to kind of clarify, did you already graduate with your bachelor's degree, and what maybe would be the academic plan? Are you graduating this semester? I don't know. I guess I'm not up to date on where that stood, but maybe where that's at and what the plan is for you in this extra year.
Yeah, so I was actually able to graduate last summer with a degree in sport industry, and then I started my master's program. So I'm towards the end of my master's program in sport management right now. I have a few more things left to do to wrap that up, but I'll have my master's here hopefully pretty soon, maybe by the end of the summer or next fall.
Yeah. There were 2 weekends, obviously, the Big Ten tournament, the NCAA tournament, and you missed the last 2 games of the Big Ten tournament and obviously didn't play in the NCAA tournament. 2 different experiences, I guess, and maybe your health was at a different place in both those weekends. Just, I don't know, what can you recollect about what those situations were? We all saw they took you off the court in the middle of the game against Purdue, and I don't know, just what after you had basically the best half of basketball anybody has seen in a long time. Yeah. I don't know, just your whole recollection of that chain of events, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy just, coming off of how I had the first, incident happen, against Michigan, came back, recovered, was feeling great, really I wasn't having any issues in any other, area, like with my body or my health. So, I was feeling great, playing good basketball, and, ended up getting hit in that second half against Purdue. And, at first, it was a hard hit, but I really didn't feel any of the symptoms that I had, like the concussion symptoms that I had. So, I told them, I was good and I wanted to keep going. It wasn't until I had sat down in the huddle after the timeout that everything kind of came on. And then from that point, it was just, trying to recover and get my head right. It was tough because, like you said, I had to miss those Big Ten games, and then even leading up into the next week, the NCAA tournament. So it's tough watching, especially, being in my 4th year, having been through it and wanting to really be a part of it. it was tough to watch, but I that whole time, I had the utmost confidence, in my teammates, and that was never a doubt of me being out. It was just, wanting to be a part of it with them.
Thank you.
Okay, Patrick Murphy.
Hey, Kyle. We've already seen you guys add another big man in Joey. So I'm curious, when you're talking about coming back with the coaching staff this year, how much you guys talked about your role. It seems a bit more crowded now in that position. Ibrahima, obviously, we assume will be healthier. Just what do you see your role being, and how does that fit in with kind of the collection of bigs you guys now have?
Yeah, definitely, talk to them a little bit. We don't know exactly how things are going to look, but, I, plan to continue developing my game. Even as it was this past year, just being able to stretch out to, the wing, shoot, more low post options, stuff like that. So just developing my game offensively and defensively, I think will be able to help. And then, I'm still going to be doing, the things I'm used to be doing. I'll still probably be, guarding the 5 at times, stuff like that too. So those are things that won't change, but, just planning to develop my game, to be more of a threat on the offensive end.
And then Coach Holtman told us, I think for a couple of those games you missed, you were able to at least be in the locker room with the guys. How much was that helpful? I know it's still probably tough to just have to watch it on TV, but at least to be around the guys and whatnot. How was that experience for you?
Yeah, no, that was definitely, that definitely helped, just because, early on, I was just kind of like by myself and couldn't do much, and I had to be alone recovering. But once I was able to, get back with the guys, that helped me, and just, being able to talk to them and just feel more a part of it. But it was still tough, having to just sit in the locker room and watch the games. You never want to have to be in that position. But, things happen for a reason. So.
Thank you.
Okay, Colin.
Hey, Kyle, you talked about, some of the conversations that you had about, what it would look like if you were to go take the professional route right now. What would that path have looked like? Like, where would you be right now? What type of, leagues would you be looking at playing in?
I didn't get into too many specifics of where, there was places they mentioned, but it was more of just me trying to get to know these guys, figure out what they're about, start building the relationship with them. Because then, if I were to, choose to turn pro, then, I would end up first would probably just sign with one of those guys and then go from there. But there really wasn't too many specifics talked about.
You talked about, you not wanting to end your Ohio State career the way that it would have ended. How do you want to end it this time, a year from now?
Just the way that I wasn't able to play, really wasn't able to have an impact on the outcome. And, I just want, to experience, a full year, more normal than obviously, COVID year. This past year was great. We made, we did some great things with this team, and, just the chemistry we have with this team, all these guys, it was special. But just being able to, have a full year that feels more normal, and then, just compete in, the Big Ten and NCAA tournament, at the level I would like to. But, it's just really just about, having another year, being able to play, in front of Buckeye Nation and all these amazing fans and my family. So,
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, Griffin.
Hey, Kyle. We talked a little bit about you guys bringing in Joey, obviously, transferring from Indiana, and also you guys are bringing in Jamari Wheeler from Penn State as well. I'm wondering, do you have any specific memories or first impressions of playing those guys in the past, and what your thoughts and kind of first reaction was to hearing that both of those guys were going to be coming in for you over the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, both super good guys. I just talked to Jamar for the first time. We just chatted it up a little bit. Seems like a super good dude. And then just from playing against him, plays super hard. You know, he competes. And, you know, that's going to be someone, you know, that we need for sure. So, and then Joey, I've known Joey previously from, you know, his time when he was at Butler. I had already developed a relationship with him there. So we've talked, you know, on and off just, you know, about how basketball is going and things like that. And I just talked to him recently here. So he's going to be a huge add for us too. So we're excited about both of them. You know, I think they're both guys that fit pretty well with the Ohio State program and what we're about.
Thanks.
Sorry, Adam, you're up.
Kyle, you talked about being, you know, feeling better and everything. I just wondered, like, what did it look like for you once the season ended? Like, how long did it take until you felt like you were back to normal and able to shake off all the effects of that second concussion?
You know, it did take some time. Even towards, you know, like, you know, that last game in the tournament for us, I was starting to feel, you know, more back to normal. It just took, I don't know the exact dates, but, you know, after the season ended, I still took some time before I was able to really start doing anything again. But, you know, I'm feeling 100% now, back to normal, like myself. So it was just a matter of, you know, stepping back and taking time to myself and letting everything heal.
Was there any part, as you're trying to decide what the next decision was, when you do have two concussions in a short amount of time like that, did any part of you wonder if it was a good idea to come back? Did you consider maybe hanging it up?
No, that really wasn't a thought for me. You know, especially as I started to feel better. I mean, it's hard not to think about, you know, like that, because that could be potentially very dangerous. But you know, I was starting to feel, you know, like myself again, and I tried so, you know, to not let that be too big of a factor in my decision, just because, you know, injuries could happen at any time, anywhere. So I tried to not really let that focus in too much and just focus on, you know, the things like I mentioned earlier.
Okay, we'll go to Andy Evans.
Kyle, I had a buddy who lives in Massillon, and we were having a conversation about you literally the night before the Purdue game. And his comment to me was, I don't understand why we haven't seen Kyle shooting the deep ball. And then literally the Purdue game happens. Why hadn't we seen you shooting the deep shot throughout your career up until that game? And then you kind of broke out and went nuts a little bit.
I mean, I think it's a lot of things, you know. Earlier on in my career, you know, I was just focused on, you know, finding my role, you know, what was going to keep me on the floor. You know, early on playing behind a lot of good players, you know, I was able to learn a lot from them. And then, you know, as I was stepping into my own role, you know, my sophomore year, I kind of found the identity of, you know, toughness, rebounding, you know, 50-50 plays, stuff like that. And, you know, I really hadn't had that confidence offensively yet that I was able, you know, to build into my game later on in my career. But, you know, through this past year and this last summer, you know, I think I was able to develop just through, you know, consistent hard work and reps. And, you know, it's something that I've always been a hard worker, and, you know, I pride myself in that. But, you know, this past summer, it's something I really focused on and, you know, and focused in on. That I could do it. So it was just applying it, and, you know, coming into that game, you know, I just felt loose and, you know, confident in my game. So, you know, hopefully just continue to grow from that game and, you know, see what else can come next.
And you talk about, you know, expanding your game, taking it to the next level and learning, you know, to grow in that regard. Is that an aspect that you're really going to work on, not only obviously to help your team, you know, for the upcoming season, but also to take yourself to getting into the next level?
Yeah, 100%. You know, really going to focus in just on, you know, my development, you know, my skill development, you know, as well as, you know, keep my body healthy. Always about, you know, being in the weight room, getting stronger, you know, things like that, but really skill development, you know, focusing on the things, you know, areas of weakness or areas that I haven't been as strong in the past. So it's going to be an area for me that I really need to, you know, lock in on.
Cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go to Patrick again.
Kyle, yesterday Purdue announced Terry Johnson was going to move over to take a job with them. I'm just curious. Obviously, you worked closely with him during his time here. Relationships, I'm sure, from even before. Just memories, thoughts on him making that move. Anything you want to say about Terry and your time working with him?
I mean, Coach T, that's my guy. I wish him nothing but the best. If this is the move, it's going to be best for him and his family. 100% behind him. There's no bad blood, coming from me or anything like that. So, Coach T and his time working helped me a lot, with my development. And our relationship had built a lot, once I started working out with him more too. So, I wish him the best in, his future endeavors. But if that's what's best for him and his family, I support him 100%.
Okay, next, Tim Hall.
Hey, Kyle, good to have you back, man. And your game, you've improved in so many areas in your 4 years here. You were asked there about 3-point shooting. I wanted to specifically ask you about what your improvements have been at the line and how important that has been. I mean, some guys can struggle their whole careers and not up their free throw percentage, but you were, 40, 50%. And do you know what your percentage was this last season?
Did it hit 80? I didn't really look.
Almost 85. You
Okay,
missed
yeah.
single digit shots this year at the line. I mean, what goes into that? And is there a way to simulate like hitting pressure shots? I mean, how much work do you put in there?
Like I said earlier, it was just a lot of reps. That confidence of just doing it. Throughout this summer, every workout we were doing, it was a lot of free throws in between each drill we were doing, all that kind of stuff. So, it was just an area I focused on, and I was able to improve it just by continued hard work in that area and focus on it. So yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Okay, back to Steve Howard.
Yeah, Kyle. Curious about the feeling around this team. There's a lot of people that the websites do the projections, have you guys top 10 among the top 1 or 2 in the Big Ten, with Michigan up there as well. They've got a great recruiting class coming in, I guess. Just, is there a feeling of some unfinished business? What's the thought? Is there a hunger around this team? I know you're waiting to find out about Dwayne and EJ and whether they're going to be back or not, but it's been almost a decade since Ohio State went to the Sweet 16 or won the Big Ten. Just, is there a thought it's time to put a stop to that, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I don't think, for anybody, the way our season ended, that's not how we would have liked it to end. So I think, everyone has that determination, to come back and just work that much harder, to make a difference for next season. So, I think we're all, focused on what we want and how we want next season to be. It's just, it's just about, locking down now and putting in that work, when nobody's watching. So this offseason is going to be important for us. 1 through 15, however many guys we're going to have, all the way down the line. So, I'm excited to see what that looks like.
You and EJ, you guys did your best against, 7-foot guys, and you'll see those type players again. Is it comforting to know that you got Joey there maybe to play 15 or 20 minutes a game, and you guys don't have to play out of position on defense so much? I don't know, just your thought about having him as another, I'd say, weapon or another person to build that depth in there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't mind. Like I told Coach, in no way do I mind, guarding their team's, biggest player, but it definitely can be, wear down your body when you're outsized. And I know the same could probably be for EJ. I don't know how he feels about it, but it'll be nice, to have another big body in there that'll be able to, battle with these other big dudes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Adam, back to you.
Kyle, as you're deciding to come back and give it another season, and you talk about how the bond that this group has and what kind of special things you could do if you all accomplish them together. What is your relationship like, or what are your conversations like with EJ, with Dwayne, as you go into the off season? When you've made the decision to come back, do you I'm sure you're going to support them either way, but do you recruit them? Do you say like, hey, I'm back, like, let's all do this? What is that interaction like when you guys are all trying to make decisions in the off season like this?
Yeah, so I've talked to him a little bit. Obviously, even when I was making my decision, I was trying to keep them as updated as possible. But my words to them pretty much was just, I want them to do what's best for them. I'm not trying to, get into, persuading them one way or the other too much, because, it's their decision at the end of the day. And, I want them to do what's best for them and, their families and their careers. So, I'm going to be happy with whatever they choose to do. Obviously, if they come back, that'll be amazing. But, if they decide to not come back, then, I wish them the best as well. And I'm, always going to have a lifetime bond with those guys. So, yeah, there's nothing like I'm saying really to persuade them in any way, but I definitely would be happy if they came back.
I talked with Musa yesterday, and he was talking about just how surreal it felt to lose that game, and you got to take the bus back to Indianapolis, pack up, take the bus back home. And I know you, like you said, you're still dealing with the concussion a little bit, but the feelings that you guys must have all gone through. What sticks out when you think back on all that time you guys had to spend kind of letting all that sink in and just to get home? Like, I'm surprised you couldn't stay the night. I mean, you had to get home that night. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. What was that all like?
Yeah, I mean, it was, very, very disappointing, just the way things ended. And then, just being in the locker room, seeing the emotions from other guys, talking with, the older guys, like talking to CJ. There was a lot of emotions running through that locker room. And, I was just like, it was feeling, for me personally, it was like, feeling sad that they had to, go out there and compete, and I couldn't be a part of it as well. Because everything happens for a reason. And, Oral Roberts played, very well that game. And after we ended up losing that game, getting back to the locker room, it was just kind of like shock. So I was just trying to be there for the guys. And then, like you said, we had to go back to the hotel, pack up, and wait for the bus and then leave. So, that whole time it was just hard to process it all. But, it sank in more, as we were leaving and driving back. And that's kind of when I started to think about my decision more.
Thanks, Kyle. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Anything? All right. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Kyle.